character analysis. Last time we covered this game, well, the series, we managed to cover the remainder of the Street Fighter 2 cast and a character from the Final Fight series, that being Relento. So for this one, I'm going to be covering quite a few characters at random at this point of my choosing, just to see what could work. Now we're going to start off with Seth, because apparently he's going to be the final character of Street Fighter V Season 4 after Gil was announced officially for the game. Do I want Seth in the game? Personally, I don't, but I'd be happy for those that did want him, so whatever. Now, Seth himself gains a couple of things, moveset-wise anyway. So, looking at the move list I put up right now, because for Omega Mode stuff it doesn't tell you anything, so you have to look the stuff online. But for Seth, he gains Urian's Chariot Tackle, which is done with quarter circle forward, kick. Which uses the same animation as his focus attack. So that's his life, these are his lights. Right. Here's his mediums. Here's his heavies. And he even has a zoom punch. So that's taken from Dhalsim. Now the thing you'll notice with Seth is this dude essentially just takes moves from other characters. So that's his heavy, and if you hold down heavy kick, he'll do this attack right here. Which can lead to a good combo. He also has a target combo, which is done with light punch and medium punch. Yep, that's it right there. Yeah, it's at a distance. I forgot about that. Right. So, special move-wise, Seth has, like I said, access to Chariot Tackle, which is taken from Urian from the Street Fighter 3 series. So, yeah, he has access to that. So, the distance is probably the difference between the different versions of the move. So, here's the light version, here's the medium, oh, wait. And here's the heavy. So it covers a lot more distance. And here's the EX version. So he has two at the same time. Also, he takes from Zangief his spinning pile driver. So here's the light version. Oh, wait, hang on. Didn't want to do that. Okay, there's the light version. So, I think the only difference really is the damage. I'm not entirely sure. Right, here's the medium. Yeah, it seems like the damage is the difference. And here's the heavy. And the EX version. Yeah, I don't know what the difference there is. It probably is startup or something. He also has access to a Shoryuken, but unlike most Shoto characters, you can do it up to 3 times after each input. So here's the light, and here's the light with the additional input. Then there's the medium. Not that. God damn it. Alright, here's the medium. And here's the medium with the additional inputs. And here's the heavy. And here's the heavy with the additional inputs. If I can get the inputs in that way. There we go. And here's the E. Okay, never mind. And here's the EX version with the inputs included. And this is the regular EX Shoryuken without the inputs. So I think the only difference really is the damage, though. And just the distance that it travels. Oh no, the damage is about the same. I guess it's the startup. Okay. Then we have, oh. Be right back. Distractions as usual. Right. So, hang on. Right. So Seth also has access to a projectile. In his case, he uses Guile's Sonic Boom. But uses it differently. So here's the light version. Here's the medium. And here's the heavy. I mean, they all look identical, so I don't see what the point is. But here is the EX version. Yes, you can have a stationary projectile, which is pretty good for setups. Now, the stationary projectile only seems to be in Omega mode, but it would give Seth some pressure tools. Which is pretty useful. And you can even follow up with stuff like that, so... he also has Chun-Li's spin kicks, but the difference here is, again, how Seth executes the move. And the distance is judged by, well, the strength of the button. So that's the light, that's the medium distance, that's the heavy distance, and here's the EX distance. So this is what the kicks do in Omega mode. They just do that type of motion. And I guess the other difference is the damage. Not really. And that is the normal animation for the move, but it is pretty good as an EX. Next, we have his Tundon engine, which, luckily, is still intact in his moveset. The only difference is the input now. And it has been changed from a quarter circle back motion and a punch button to being a DP motion. Understandable. Now, what this does is, it's a Vortex type special move, so it allows Seth to draw in his opponent. But so far, that doesn't seem to be the case for this version. Don't do that either. Okay. Here's the light. Here's the medium. Heavy. Doesn't have that same vortex effect as you'd expect. And here's the EX version, which does indeed have good range in this version. He also has access to a teleport as well, which is taken from Dalsum. And it can be done with either the punch or kick buttons. And then Seth will just kind of teleport around whenever he wants. So yeah, that teleports him away from the opponent. And of course the forward moving ones are the ones that get him towards the opponent. So the teleport's also good for like setups for the EX Sonic Booms, if you want to get up close and personal. Now, as for then he also has like command normals, so the double zoom punch is also taken from Dhalsim, which we saw earlier, and that is done by pressing forward and heavy punch. So that gives him some good enough range for poking the opponent, but of course, because it's a heavy attack, it also has a bit of startup. Then he also takes Chun-Li's head stomp, which he can do up to 3 times, which I clearly can't because it's not proper yet. And he also has access to a jumping double zoom punch, which is also taken from Dhalsim. And the thing I showed earlier, that's his scythe kick. And of course the target combo is in there as well. And he also has a wall jump just like Chun-Li, so yeah, he has that as well. In fact, Chun-Li is not the only one that has that move. I think some of the ninja characters have it as well. So that's his back throw, forward throw, and okay, and then here's his jumping light, jumping medium, jumping heavy, jumping light kick, jumping medium kick, which gives him a command normal for some reason, and jumping heavy kick. And this is the forward advancing versions of the moves. It's only the medium that seems to be different. And the light. And the medium. And the heavy. Crouching light. Crouching light kick. Crouching medium. Crouching medium kick. Crouching. And as you can tell, the crouching heavy punch is similar to Gil and Urian's crouching heavy from previous games, so he borrows from those guys as well. And his crouching heavy kick. Now, how would I imagine Seth to be translated into Street Fighter V, since he's apparently the final Season 4 character? Well, I can definitely see the Tanden engine being used as a V-skill of some kind, because there's going to be 2 V-skills, so I don't know what they could do for his other V-skill. V-Trigger 1 could enhance his, like, specials, and V-Trigger 2 could do something defensive-based, or just do something with the Tanden engine. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see if Seth is the final character, as the leaks suggest, but I guess that's just for another time until December. Guess we just have to wait until December. So another character I wanted to talk about is the second most popular character on the poll, and that is Makoto, who first made her debut in Street Fighter III Third Strike. Because I've seen a lot of people asking for her to show up. And I can't say I blame them. I mean, it's fun as hell. Right.
Fight locale chosen. It's the battle of the century. Fight!
So, for Makoto, she has access to a lot of moves as well. So, first, here's the light, here's her light kick, medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. And she just straight up boots you. Here's her back throw, here's her forward throw, which gives some decent distance. So, the first special move she has is this axe kick that she can only do in the air. So I can at least see that being employed in some of her combos. So, here's her light version, the medium version, heavy, which causes a knockdown, and here's the EX version, which also causes a knockdown as well, but just has faster startup, I guess. Yep. Let's see. She also has a dash punch as well, which you can indeed charge. And this does some really good damage. Okay, so here's the light version, which has short distance. Here's the medium version, which, judging by the distance, goes pretty damn far. But it's really the heavy version that gives her the most distance. But the startup so far seems to be the same, and it seems that the longer you charge the move, yes, you can charge this by holding the button after the input, she will go way further. So here's the light version uncharged, here's the light version fully charged. And she covers way more distance. Here's the medium uncharged, and here's the medium fully charged. Again, covering really good distance. And here's the heavy version, uncharged. And here's the heavy version, fully charged. Again, decent enough distance. But she also has an EX version as well. And it just comes out right away. Now, I don't know what the difference is here. Okay, yeah, that has way more distance than the others. She also has a move that allows her to grab the opponent and choke them, essentially. So this is kind of good for setups and all that. So that's the light version. Here's the medium. Again, doesn't seem to be much of a difference. And here's the heavy. And here we have the EX, which just allows her to have the opponent way closer, setting up for combos. She also has a move called Isana, which is this move. This is one of the moves she got in Omega mode. And essentially it's just a headbutt. Pretty good at stunning the opponent. Right, so light, medium, heavy, EX. Again, doesn't seem to be much of a difference. She also has an overhead chop special move as well. So yeah, that's the light version. This is the medium. The heavy causes a knockdown. And the EX version causes knockdown as well. She also got another move called Shikiri, which is done with quarter circle forward kick. So judging from the input, it looks like a parry, so we're gonna have to set the opponent to at least attack. Okay, I'm not sure what that's supposed to do. Maybe I should have recorded this properly. Yeah, I have no idea how the fuck this move works. Like, the description doesn't tell me anything. Like, is it a counter? Or is it supposed to counter projectiles? Okay, clearly it doesn't do shit against that type of stuff, so I'm guessing it probably is projectiles. Hang on. Okay, it doesn't seem to have that use either, so what even is the point of this move? I'm gonna have to look this stuff up, hang on. Because the thing is, I don't know what that move does. Like, it looks like a parry or a counter of some kind, but it doesn't seem to counter shit. So I'm just gonna have to look up what the move actually does in more greater detail, because what I'm looking at is just a move list, not anything that details anything. Where is it? Okay, while my gutter trash phone is loading that stuff up, we'll just pay attention to the other special move that she can actually do, and it's an upward punch, which is done with DP and any punch button, and of course the difference is the distance. So this functions as sort of like an anti-air. And the difference, of course, is the damage. And the heavy version gives a small, light step. And here's the EX version. There we go. So this is kind of good for juggle combos, if you're into that sort of thing. Well, if you like juggle combos anyway. What else do we have? Okay, well, here's a crouching light punch and light kick. Medium punch, medium kick. Heavy punch, which causes knockdown, and heavy kick, which is a nice roundhouse to the face. Light kick, light punch, medium kick, heavy punch, heavy kick. Now, one thing you'll notice is that Makoto's walk speed, forwards or backwards, is really slow, but she has the quickest forward dash in Street Fighter. No joke, like, she has the quickest forward dash ever, so she can get in. So while the walk speed of the character is slow, she makes up for that by having a very fast forward advancing dash. So that's her back throw, forward throw. Oh wait, we already did those. Hang on. For fuck's sake, my phone's frozen again. God damn it. I hate when that shit happens. So. Yeah. Damn it. Oh, I just looked up the properties. Isana is an armor break move, so so she's just able to like it's just able to keep opponents in check whilst also armor breaking. Right. Right, I'm gonna look up Omega Mode. So while I'm doing that, we're just gonna look at her other stuff. So one thing that caught my attention was her super that she's had since Third Strike, called Tanden Renki. And it's done with quarter circle forward twice and then a punch button. But if Makoto were in Street Fighter V, this would easily be adapted into a V trigger, as it does enhance most of her special moves and does more damage. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, she also has some command normals like a forward heavy kick and a target combo done by forward heavy punch twice. Damn it. Yeah, the move's called... Okay, so... Yeah, that move I'm trying to figure out is called Shikiri, by the way. Right. Just trying to figure out what the hell it does. Because, like, it doesn't seem to do anything against regular attacks. It doesn't seem to do anything against projectiles. Let's see... Fury-driven character. Okay. Okay, so one of her moves becomes something that is exclusive to Tanden Renki called Humohara, and it functions as a parry. So wait, how the hell do you even perform the move? Like, this thing didn't even tell me shit. Oh, god damn it. Okay, it's done with, medium punch and medium kick, so I can see this being, like, maybe a V skill? Like, this could be a V skill, or just something similar to how Alex's V-Trigger 1 works, where even though he can charge up his sledgehammer move, it functions as a parry as well. So I feel like, whilst that a parry could be, like, her V skill 1 or 2, but then again, a bunch of characters have that, so... Because again, I don't even know what that is meant to be. Is that supposed to be a count? I feel like the only purpose of that move is just so you can cancel out certain attacks. Like, I feel like that is the only purpose of that move. But she also gains a bunch of target combos, so... This one's done with light kick and medium kick. Like that. She also has one that's a forward advancing medium kick, heavy kick. A toward heavy kick, which I showed off earlier. And if you hold the button, she can fake out of that move. She also has a toward heavy punch, which is essentially the start of the target combo. In other words, she just has toward versions of her moves. So she has that, that. All for her regular attacks. But yeah, I feel like that is the only purpose of this move here, which is the quarter circle forward kick one, is it's just to cancel out certain attacks, just so I can continue combos way differently. So I feel like that would just be like a cancel type move they just include just for the sake of different combo potential. At least that's my guess, because it doesn't parry or counter anything, so That's probably what the purpose of the move is. Right, so that's Seth and Makoto covered, so the other character that people want to see come back, and I know somebody is obsessed with this character, and that is Rose, a character who first made her debut back in Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams, and she is one of the entirely brand new characters that was introduced in the game, as the majority of characters in the first Alpha entry were taken from Street Fighter 1 and the Final Fight series. So we're going to take a look at what Rose has to offer. Because my god, her redesign in Street Fighter 5, at least from that arcade ending with Monat, looks really cool.
Training stage. Fists will fly at this location. The battle has begun. Fight!
Right. So, starting off, let's look at her normals. So, this is her light punch, in jumping, standing, and crouching. Her light kick in jumping, standing, and crouching. Medium punch in crouching, standing, and jumping. So, medium kick in the same, like, stuff I just mentioned, which is the jumping, standing, and crouching. So that's good for confirms, I guess. She also has, yep, you guessed it, the heavy punch variant of moves. So jumping, standing, heavy, and then here's her heavy kick, which is jumping, standing, and crouching. She also has a command normal, which is forward heavy kick, which gives her some good distance. And this is her medium kick from a distance. I can at least see these being turned into command normals in Street Fighter 5 if they ever make her playable. So, she also has a Soul Reflect move like Monat, but Rose predates the character by a few years. So here's it. So, here's the light version, medium version, heavy version, which causes a juggle, and the EX version. Now, because it has the word reflect in it, naturally, it also can reflect projectiles. Yeah, I forgot the input already, god damn it. So yeah, it can function differently. So the light version absorbs a projectile, the medium version reflects it back, and the heavy version reflects it upwards, and the EX version will reflect it as well. So it's very useful if you're trying to punish zoners, essentially. She also has another move called Soul Spiral, which is done with quarter circle forward kick. So this is kind of good for ending combos. So, before I continue, this is her back throw, and this is her forward throw. Nice bit of bounce there. Okay, so light, medium, heavy, and here's the EX version. So the difference is the number of hits it does, and the distance in which the move itself travels. So yeah, you can cover some good distance with the move. Her projectile is Soul Spark, so this is one of her signature moves that she's had since her debut. So this is done with half circle forward punch. Yeah, kind of weird, right? So the difference is really just the distance and speed that the projectile travels. So, light, medium, heavy, and the EX version, which travels the quickest. But slow projectiles is what's good for starting up your combos if you want to pressure the opponent. Like that. She also gets a new move in Omega Mode called Soul Passing. Which, just from how that looks, must be a parry. Seems to function as one. So yeah, this acts as like a counter, and it seems that Rose gets health back. And the EX version will essentially just counter everything. So yeah, that's how that move works. So the way I can see it functioning is that could be one of Rose's V skills, because I'm not entirely sure what they could make her second V skill. Oh, and she also has her signature Soul Throw. Not what I wanted to do. So naturally, that is a anti-air move, so we'll have Ryu jump here. That's the light version. That's the medium. And that's the heavy, which covers a lot of distance. And here's the EX move. If I can do the goddamn input. Yeah, for some reason half the inputs aren't working for me. Okay, there we go. She also has another move that I don't know about, which it seems to not be in this guide. No, that's not what I want. Because she also got another move. Hang on, maybe I think the best thing to do is, instead of looking at this gutter trash list, I should probably look at a YouTube video, since they at least detail what the hell half the moves do. Because there's one move on this list that isn't on there that I know I've seen Rose have in this mode. And it's sort of like a slow-moving projectile she has. Let's see. Okay, another detail is that that Soul Passing counter does not have an advantage against moves with armor breaking, so Makoto's move would not be very useful against the counter itself. Okay, she also gets a move called Soul Bubble, which is done with the backwards VP motion and a punch button. So the way I can see it, that could be a V skill too. And here's the EX version. What's even the difference though? I guess you have to like manual control its distance. Nope, it doesn't seem to work like that, but it does have like a little blast radius to it, so I guess that could be a V skill, just like the counter. Now, one V trigger I can see them using is Soul Illusion, which is a move that Rose had during the alpha games. Unfortunately, she doesn't have that in this game, but it's just something I thought I'd bring up. The way I can tell is it functions similar to how Yun's Gene Jinyu functions, where it just creates a bunch of after images and then your combo structure can just go all out. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, Rose also has a command normal medium kick and a command normal heavy kick, so she has that. But one thing I can talk about is her ultra combo 2 in this game called Soul Satellite. This alone could function as a V trigger. So the way I'd see it is this can be her V trigger 1, while Soul Illusion can be V trigger 2, or maybe vice versa or whatever. And it would be active for a certain amount of time, just like that. So yeah, that is Rose from the Alpha series. Right, 3 down, and how many more characters I would like to do. Okay, the other character I know a lot of people want to see come back is Crimson Viper, and she already has a redesign just like Rose has in Street Fighter V, so it is kind of weird that they haven't included her in the game yet. So we're gonna go with Viper and see what's changed with her.
Training stage. The stage of battle is set. Let's get started. Fight!
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out what moves are brand new to Viper. Okay, so see. Here we go. Right, so let's look at her normals first. So here's her light punch standing, crouching light punch, jumping light punch, crouching light kick, standing light kick, jumping light kick, standing medium, crouching medium, jumping medium, standing medium kick. Oh yeah, it was turned into a knockdown move, and that's just her regular standing if it doesn't knock you down. Crouching medium kick, jumping medium kick, jumping heavy punch, standing heavy punch, crouching heavy punch, jumping heavy kick, crouching heavy kick, standing heavy kick. Here's her forward throw. Nice impact. And here's her back throw. Okay, she has a unique command normal, which is done by diagonal crouching heavy kick, and it is called Viper Blade. That's probably the most badass name for just a regular attack. Her forward heavy kick allows her to do a move called Double Kick. So, in this game, she also gets a move called Thunder Fist. So here's the light version. Medium, heavy, and the EX version. And, like most of her moves, this stuff can be cancelled by pressing 2 punch buttons. So you can do some insane, like, cancel combos with the character, which is dope. And all 4 versions can be cancelled. Including the EX one. She also has another move called Burst Heel, which is done with quarter circle forward kick. So here's the light version. Medium version. Does 2 additional hits, the heavy version, and the EX version, which has this unique animation. And, like with most of her specials, this stuff can be cancelled. Or at least if I can pull that off anyway. Oh yeah, you can cancel it midway through. She also has another move, which is a aerial move called Burning Kick. So this is a move she's had since the vanilla version of this game. She is one of the newcomers from it. But the properties of her EX kick are also different. And you can do additional hits, kind of like Akuma's EX Demon Flip in most of the games. So that's kind of cool. But she also has this move available anytime to her, so there we go. That's the light, that's the medium, that's the heavy, which is forward advancing, and here's the EX. It's only the aerial version of these moves that function differently. And we have Thunder Knuckle, which is another move she's had since launch. and they function differently as well. And here's the EX version, which is very good for cross-ups. She also has another move, which is called Seismic Hammer, which is done with a DP and punch input. Again, this move can also be cancelled. So here's the medium. No, wait, that was the light. This is the medium, which causes a shockwave from a distance. And here's the heavy version, which gives her a bit more distance. And here we have the EX version, which does that. So, how do I think Crimson Viper will turn out in Street Fighter V if she ever were to be brought back? I don't honestly know. I mean, that game waters down quite a lot of legacy characters, and Crimson Viper is kind of well known at this point for being one of the technical characters in the series. So by watering her down, you essentially would take away the most interesting thing about her gameplay. And that would be the technicality of how she works, including how she can cancel her specials and everything. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess she might receive a few new moves. I mean, Jury got a few new ones, so who knows? Okay, so that was the super combo. Ultra, so I guess they could have like a more over-the-top version of that, but some of the supers in Street Fighter V lately have been kind of just mixed, I'd say. Alright, so that covers Viper, I guess.
The world's fiercest fighters await. Will you be the last warrior standing?
Because we've done so far, for anyone tuning in, so we've done Makoto from Third Strike. We've covered the final boss, Seth. Crimson Viper herself. No. And we've covered. Actually, I think that's what I've covered so far. Oh no, wait, and I also covered Rose, so that's like 4 characters that I've done so far. I guess the last one I could cover is, I don't know, Yun? I mean, because I know a lot of my friends do not want this guy in Street Fighter V. They do not want him anywhere near that game. And I can understand why, because in Third Strike, he alongside Chun-Li was one of the 2 top-tier characters in competitive play. And it's easy to see why, given his moveset. And like Akuma, he's a glass cannon, but in his case, he's a glass cannon for the more agile and fast characters of the series, whereas Akuma is the glass cannon for the Shoto archetypes. So, we're going to take a look at what Yun is capable of.
Training stage. The stage of battle is set. The battle has begun. Fight!
Right, so I just have to make sure what stuff he's got brand new. Okay, so he has a close heavy kick that allows him to, well, essentially just kick the opponent and juggle him. Oh god. No wonder my friends didn't want to try Omega Mode, because it just made Yun have this move we can juggle at least twice. Oh, so. Alright, so here's Yun's light heavy punch, standing, crouching, jumping. His light kick, crouching, standing, jumping. Medium, crouching, okay, so standing medium punch, crouching medium punch, jumping medium punch. Here's a standing medium, which also has a juggle effect, so that should be fun. His crouching medium kick, jumping medium, crouching heavy, which does up to 2 hits, Standing heavy, which does 2 hits as well. And jumping heavy. Jumping heavy kick. Crouching heavy kick. Standing heavy kick, which, as we discussed, has that. And this is his kick from a distance, which is pretty good if you want to set up for during these juggle combos, so it's kind of good for that. So his first move is his palm strike, which is done with quarter circle forward punch. And of course the distance is also a big factor in which move is the best, because they have about similar startup. So here's the light, here's the medium, with the heavy having the most distance. And here's the EX's distance. So that's cool. He also has another move, which is his, okay, that was his dashing punch. So his other move is the actual, like, shockwave, like, palm strike. So the quarter circle back light is just a fake out version of the move. But if you can input the button again to make him do the move right away. Oh yeah, holding it now causes it to fake out the light one. The others will come out right away. And it's the heavy one that causes knockback, while the EX version causes a wall bounce, so that can set up for other insane combos with Ewan. So let me just check something else. He also gets a brand new move called Shukuchi Rimon Chochu, which is a dashing move that also employs his attack buttons that can also be EX'd. So it seems like they just gave him a dash move just for the sake of it. So here's the light version, medium, heavy, and EX, which does multiple hits. Okay, so here's his forward throw. And his back throw, just to make sure. So his back throw gives him a lot of distance between him and the opponent. But he also gets an additional move while he's using the EX version of that dash attack that I showed you. If you press the additional button, he will do another combo. But it also spends a bar of EX meter. Yeah, they essentially just made Yun even more of a monster than what he already is in this game. So I can only just imagine how stuff will go in Street Fighter V if they bring him back. Okay, we already covered that move. Right, then we have his Tetsu Zanko, which is a DP kick. Which is that move. So that was the light one. Okay, that's his forward medium kick. That's the medium. And that's the heavy. And here's the EX move.
Yay! So much fun!
Oh wait, that wasn't Tetsuzanko, but anyways, here's his shoulder lean, which is a DP motion and a punch button. So that's the light. That's the medium. And there's also a distance as well, so there's that. 9. And here's the heavy. God damn it. This is... Why do these buttons not work half the time? Alright, and that's the heavy. Sometimes I have to do these on the D-pad for it to function properly. And here's the EX. God damn it. And here's the EX. Shit. Goddamn inputs. Does this even have an EX? Yeah, it does, but for some reason it's not working. Okay, there it is. So the EX version crosses up when close to the opponent and then just juggles the opponents even further. And he also has a quarter circle back kick move, which is essentially just this kind of move. So it's kind of similar how Fei Long's version of the move works. He just goes to the other side of the opponent, and it just allows for combos. So this is the light, this is the medium, this is the heavy, and this is the EX. They all do about the same thing. And the other thing to point out is, well, his super combo, which he's had since Street Fighter 3, and that is Genin Jin, which is this move. As you can see, it gives Yun an after image that allows him to do stuff like this. Oh, and Yun also has a target combo. Oh, and he also has a dive kick. At least I think he does. I can't remember which move it was. There we go, it's diagonal jump and then a down heavy kick. But for some reason when I try to do the move, it doesn't work. But anyways, that's Yun. So that's me covered 5 characters. So we've done 2 characters from this game, 2 characters from Street Fighter 3, and 1 alpha character. Just to see some variety right there. And I even covered the character that everyone sees as cheap, and they wouldn't be lying when they say that. So hopefully this was a fun stream for those that like the characters. Seriously doubt it was fun. I mean, it's just me analyzing a bunch of characters that people probably don't give a shit about, or give a shit about, but just because I'm a casual, I just half-ass it. Not intentionally, though. But I hope everyone enjoyed regardless.